Perhaps you've just been accepted to grad school for acting. Perhaps you're about to audition for grad school, or perhaps you just want to know what the heck it is I do all day. Well, good news for all of you, I have wonderful answers prepared. Not that well prepared because I didn't even read it right. But first things first, who the heck am I? I'm Gavin Michaels. I'm an actor and musician who's currently attending the Case Western Reserve University / Cleveland Playhouse Master in Fine Arts acting program. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? The program itself is tuition free, $50,000 a year covered by scholarships. We get a $13,000 a year living stipend. We get a third-year internship with Cleveland Playhouse, which grants us an equity card, a New York City showcase, as well as a whole lot of actor training. I also like to make videos about music, comedy, and ideas in my free time. So if you got something out of this video and you want to check out my other stuff, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell, give it a dong, or feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want to stay up to date on all my latest projects. Don't worry, I don't post that much that I'll blow up your phone. So first things first, the contents of this video were filmed almost a month ago now. We're in production for The Liar, and I had different colored hair. I had very crazy sideburns, and I had a lot going on, so I didn't really get a chance to go back and look at the footage and edit it and film this part until very, very recently. For this video, I want to show you how my week unfolded. In many ways, it was a very standard week in grad school, but in many ways, it wasn't. But kind of reflecting on it, I don't think I have many weeks that are free from zero externalities. So you'll notice little things here and there, like, oh, this class got canceled, or I had to wake up super early this morning, or this fell through, or da-da-da-da-da. But I want to just be transparent as far as that goes, so that you can get a realistic take of what the balance of class schedules versus regular life is actually like. So with that out of the way, here's how Monday morning starts. At 5:30, my partner wakes up for our opening shift. This is a dramatic recreation, but you can imagine her getting out of bed and me putting on my eye mask and earplugs while she gets ready in the morning. And I sleep in then until 8 a.m. when I actually wake up.
It's 8 a.m. on Monday, and that means I need to get out of bed, but I don't want to.
So every morning at 8 a.m., I wake up, I rinse my face with cold water, I make a bagel and cream cheese, and then either I'll watch a YouTube video on my laptop, or check emails, or just stare out the window and enjoy the morning. That morning there were some plants that needed to be watered, so I watered those, popped on my jackets, and headed to Cleveland Playhouse for my first class of the day. The walk to Cleveland Playhouse is gorgeous. There's some beautiful historic architecture that you'll pass. There's architecture being built right in front of you. And there's also the world's largest outdoor chandelier. From 9 a.m. to 10:30 is our first class of the day, which is movement. I didn't film any of this class for privacy reasons. We're doing Grotowski technique, which involves a lot of strange, very personal movements. Specifically, we're working with the plastiques, which looks really strange, but is about freeing the impulse to move in your body within certain parameters. It's really cool. We get a lot of benefit out of it. We also do some Feldenkrais work, but I didn't want to film any of that because you can't be inhibited.
All you guys do the plastiques.
Details, 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 details.
After that, from 10:30 to 12, I had acting class with Ellen.
Now we're going to rehearse for our scene, which is from Richard III.
Who's there? It's her.
It's me.
Then from 12 to 1, I walked home. I made some lunch. For lunch, I had quinoa, beans, corn, taco, seasoned tofu, and chips. Then from 1 to 2:30, I had voice, where we did our group warm-up, which looks really weird. But is surprisingly effective. Then we all sat in a row and we watched two people present their classical monologues that they'd been working on. And then Beth, our voice teacher, will give us feedback, and then we do them over again and hopefully improve. From 2:30 to 4:30, after voice, we have a class called text analysis, where we'll have read a play in our private time, and then we come in and talk about the play. I gave a brief presentation about the Spanish golden age of theater, and we talked about the play The Courage to Right a Woman's Wrongs. 4:30 to 5:30, I had to print up a monologue I was working on. Then I had the dinner, where I had a Gavin Michaels classic, which is spaghetti gourmet. Then from 5:30 to 9, I had rehearsal in the Helen rehearsal space, which we take very, very seriously.
Dainty.
Oh, it's so dainty.
The play we were working on at the time, which is now concluded, was called The Liar. It was by Pierre Corneille, who's a 16th and 17th century French playwright, but it was adapted by David Ives. Every single line is in rhyming couplets. It's lovely, it's hilarious, it is perfect French farce, and I played the deceiving Durant in this production.
It's about 9:30 and just got out of rehearsal, and I've had a rather long day and now I gotta go home and learn some lines and just enjoy the rain.
Tuesday. I wake up at 8 a.m. like I do normally, but I don't have class from 9:30 to 10:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I did a little workout. The audiobook I was listening to is called Ego is the Enemy, which is available for free on Spotify.
There's a certain amount of irony in showing you that I'm listening to audiobook Ego is the Enemy, and then showing you clips of me working out. Maybe I need to reevaluate.
Normally from 10:30 to 12:30 is the time that we have for acting class, and if we're not the group that's working with our professor during that time, then we can either use that time to rehearse, or in our case, Alan and I didn't rehearse that morning, so I was able to come back up to my apartment after our workout. After my workout. Our workout. After coming back up to my apartment, I made my breakfast, and I sat next to Satori, who was working on her Japanese, and I memorized a sonnet.
Make glad and sorry, seasons as thou fleets.
We are very languagey people, as you can tell. Well, yeah, knowledge hungry. That's a good phrase.
Stay hungry for knowledge.
Stay hungry for knowledge. Stay hungry for knowledge. Leave it right out there in the outback. I just lost all the Australian viewers I could have potentially had. They're like, it's so bad. After that, Satori and I ate lunch. I took a mandatory COVID test to make sure that... Satori just took a mandatory COVID test, as you could tell. As part of Cleveland Playhouse policies, we have to take COVID tests every so often to make sure that our castmates and us are staying healthy and safe. Then after that, I went to speech class from 1 to 2:30, where we made lots of insane faces and laughed and had a grand old time with Dawn. That class is different depending on the year. So the first year is much more dedicated to learning IPA. Then the first part of the second year is dedicated to dialect. And then this part of the year is in regard to classical speech, and it's taught by a different professor. After that, I went grocery shopping at Heinen's, which is our downtown grocery store. It is a beautiful, gorgeous bank building that they converted into a grocery store, which, God frickin' bless them, we need more grand architecture in otherwise utilitarian places. It warms the heart. Next on my list was making sure that I knew how to get to the Amtrak station downtown. Because Thursday morning I was gonna have to take Satori very, very early in the morning to the Amtrak station, and I didn't want to get lost trying to get there at 5 in the morning. It was kind of a weird path, but I was able to make it. Unfortunately, it was closed, and I had to run along some train tracks to get in, and I realized that the gate was closed because the business was closed.
Well, I won't lie, I feel a little bit silly. Look at that, trains, a skyline. This warms my bloody heart.
After that, I meal prepped a bit, just kale, tofu, quinoa, vegetable mix. And then for dinner, I had spaghetti and these really terrible fake beef crumbles. They had to be eaten.
So right now it is 4:48, which means I have 10 minutes that I can nap.
Then post power nap, I walked to rehearsal, where we finally got to move into our performance space, which, as any actor will tell you, is like Christmas morning.
Ooh, endless hallways. What is this, the back rooms?
I know, that's right.
Oh my god! Oh, shaking out! The monster in the back room! That's one small step for leg, one giant leap for
Got off rehearsal at 9:30, and Satori and I unwinded with some good old-fashioned Teen Titans, it is genius. Wednesday. For Wednesday morning, you know the drill. After movement from 9 to 10:30, I worked on lines with Ellen for our Richard III scene. Then I ate some lunch.
Alright, well, I'm back from movement and from rehearsing lines with Ellen, so now I'm going to eat some lunch and work on some more lines, and then I'll nap.
Because our voice teacher was having surgery that day, we did not have class. And so I was able to use that time to play some guitar, work on lines for The Liar. Then I walked Satori to her hair appointment. And we decided to have a little spontaneous date at this Vietnamese restaurant, which was just delicious. Then we headed home and took a nap till about 4. After I rose from my nap, I mindlessly watched YouTube videos for about half an hour to 45 minutes. I made myself some sandwiches, went to rehearsal, warmed up my voice beforehand to make sure that I was well taken care of. And after rehearsal, I promptly went home. Thursday, I walked Satori to the train station at the brink of dawn.
4:45 in the morning, and Satori and I have got to get to the train station.
And after she was safe and secure on the train, I went home and slept until about 9 a.m. After sleeping some more, and after having a coffee, I went to the costume shop to see if I could get some armor pieces for my Richard III scene. After finding some pieces that I wanted to use and felt looked right, Ellen and I worked on our scene together. After that, I had speech once more from 1 to 2:30, and then I worked on lines for The Liar. After that, I headed home, cleaned up my apartment for a bit, did my laundry, ate some dinner, then went back to Cleveland Playhouse again for rehearsal for The Liar. I ate some post-rehearsal Cheez-Its.
I'm eating a bag of Cheez-Its, watching someone play League of Legends.
Then worked on more lines for The Liar. Friday morning we had movement, and then Ellen and I worked on our Richard III scene some more.
Be eloquent in my behalf to her.
Then because our voice teacher was still recovering, we were able to move rehearsal up to the early afternoon, which was an absolute blessing. My friend Shantae got me a donut from a nearby donut shop, which was a delicious apple fritter. Then I came home.
I'm not wearing an ounce of water-resistant clothing. My socks are soaked. My shoes are soaked. My jacket is soaked. But I'm happy.
Made myself some dinner, and I watched Blade Runner 2049, which is like, wow. Now in my top 10 favorite films. It is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Feeling inspired by the soundtrack, I then decided to mix some songs a little bit before I went to bed. Saturday, we had a rehearsal from 10 to 2, which meant in the afternoon I was free to do whatever I want.
Baby needs his nap time.
So I worked out, got a book from the library, and watched the film The Prestige.
I just watched The Prestige, and wow, what a film! So good. What a bloody twist.
It's worth watching. Sunday, we didn't have a whole lot to do. We just had notes that we did via Zoom call.
I was supposed to read this book a while ago, and I have to write a paper on it, and I read like the first 2 chapters. So now I have to read the rest of the book and catch up on writing that paper. It's not gonna take long, and it's a good book, but it was just one of those things that like kind of fell to the bottom of my priority list for a while there, so.
Worked out, took it easy. It was really good. So it was, all in all, it wasn't too crazy a week. It's actually in many ways much less than what we had last year. We certainly had more classes last year, which if you're interested in seeing kind of the difference between first year and second year, you can watch the video I made last year, because there's a pretty big difference. The first year is very much about giving you tools, learning different tricks or different methods to approach acting, as well as kind of stripping away a lot of the tricks that you've been using that you might rely on. And the second year is then about doing. Our voice class and speech class are less about learning specific method and more about okay, can you use it now? Can you deliver a monologue using whatever tools you've learned? It's a similar thing in acting. We're doing classical work, and the classical work is in many ways much, much more challenging, but in another sense there's a lot more to mine from it, you know? So there's like a very realistic week in my life. Not every week is like this. Not every week is not like this. Now that I'm out of production for The Liar, I have my evenings back. So know that it won't always be this busy, you know? There were certainly a few weeks, especially during tech, where it's a lot more busy and you just don't have time for relaxation the same way that you do, you know? If you have any questions about graduate school, about your application process, or other more specific questions about this program in particular, or any questions that might come to your mind, I'm happy to answer them. Please leave a comment. It can be a paragraph long. I read all my comments. I would love to respond, get back to you, and start a conversation, you know? Grad school isn't for everyone, but if you think it might be for you, then let's talk about it, you know? I hope this video kind of gave you a realistic look at what you can expect for a week in graduate school. Well, team, that's pretty much all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you have a groovy life. And I hope that whatever your relationship to grad school is, that it's going well. Thank you for watching. See you next time.